you in the chat, mate. And here we go, loading into Desert Canyon. Now, because we're playing in the perspective of Celia when we're spectating this, we're actually going to get that nice Warhammer 1 sort of brass UI coming back, which is very cool, which is a little blast from the past. And here you can see this Desert Canyon map that we're going to be playing on. So a couple of bridges, a couple of ways that you can cross over. There's going to be a bridge on each side, and then right in the middle, you've got this sort of like a little bit of a watery crossing here that's going to slow down your troops a little bit, which is a little bit dangerous to come across. So I imagine the idea here is to try and pick off your rival on this side of the river and then go after them. Let's have a look at Pete's army. It looks like he's gone for some Outriders with grenade launchers. Very, very fun. He's also got some Zintler's Rights Guard and some standard Empire Knights on the right-hand side. We've got some great swords. You've got to bring great swords. A couple of halberdiers as well. We're also going to see some Hellstorm rocket batteries, which I think are going to be very, very, very fun to use on this map, especially with that big old ridge for them to fire over if they've got the range. And then, of course, we're going to have the main man, Balthazar Gel, sitting in the middle with the Empire Captain to back him up. Looking very shiny there. And let's move over the ridge to see what Grace has brought with her. So we're going to see some Dark Riders with repeater crossbows, just sitting in Vanguard deployment there. We've also got some Dark Riders with shields. We're going to see some Black Ark Corsairs, 2 units of Dark Shards, 1 with shields. We're also going to see some Bleak Swords with some Black Ark Corsairs there, just sit in the middle with some Dread Spears and some Blackguard and Nagarons. And then we're going to see Malekith on foot with a Death Hag right next to him. And we're also, of course, going to see the best boy, the War Hydra himself, with 2 chevrons there and some Hydras just, Harpies, sorry, just sitting up above. And we can see instantly that Guy is sitting there with some Chameleon Skinks, just ready to ambush Grace, which is going to be very, very fun. And we're also going to see the rest of his army here now. So we've got some Cold One Spear Riders, as well as 2 units of Croxigors. We're going to see Krokgar on his famed Mount Grimlock. We're also going to see a Bastillodon with a Revivification Crystal. How I managed to say that, I'm not entirely sure. We've got some Saurus Spears and Saurus Warriors with shields. And that looks like about the most of it. So we're going to see a slightly smaller army from Guy, but you can expect that from the Lizardmen. It's going to be very interesting, to say the least. Everyone just sort of picking out where they're going to be going. I'll just remind you of Celia's army over here. 3 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. 2 units of Nasty Skulkers. And a Ragnarok Spider. We've got some Orc Boys, including the Crimson Killers of Black Orcs at the front. We're also going to see some Savage Orcs just lined in there for a little bit of chaff. We've got Scarsnick and Gobbler looking very beautiful in the desert there, loving it. And, of course, on the right-hand side, we're going to see those Doom Diver Catapults, which are going to be getting some early shots on the Lizardmen, which is going to be very, very fun to see. Lots of stuff happening. Pete, get out of chat, mate. Stop cheating. I see you in there. Outrageous. You better have a mute at least. We're also going to see Pete has actually moved his grenade launchers right into the back of Grace's army here, which is very, very sneaky, and I love that we can do this now. We've got these slightly altered map shapes, which is going to make it very, very fun. Guys, let's go. Let's ready up. It is time. I'm going to take chat off just in case there's any more naughty words that people can put in there, but I'm looking very much forward to this. It's going to be very, very fun. Very, very fun. I can hear it just ticking down now. It looks like we're getting ready to kick off. And this is it. All right. So we're kicking off, and it looks like we've already got a tiny bit of skirmishing happening here. We've got some Chameleon Skinks from Guy moving into the back of this Greenskins army. We're also going to see those Doom Diver Catapults just firing in now, and the Hellstorm Rocket Battery already taking some picks off of these Dread Spears. I'm not sure if that's the best target, but we are going to see those Outriders with grenade launchers just moving into the back, which is forcing Grace now to move up towards Guy. And if we look at Grace's army, she's got some decent anti-large options here with those Dread Spears and Blackguard, so going to be useful to taking down those 2 monstrous units, and of course those Croxigors as well, who are very heavily armoured, and they're going to be very difficult to take out. Chameleon Skinks already going to try and get a few shots off on that Doom Diver Catapult. If Guy has managed to get them over nice and fast, yes, there's going to be a few shots there. Now, these guys aren't incredibly accurate. It's going to be difficult to take out those small units, but you can see that damage is also dropping their morale as well, and we're definitely going to see some damage from that. But it looks like Celia's just keeping her attention focused on these Goblin Spider Riders. Want to try and get over there and get as much damage to maybe these handgunners or even these Zintler's Rights Guard, just to try and pick them off before the main entitlement comes. A Ragnarok Spider just sitting here. I think he's going to have a good time over there. Only 1 unit of Halberdiers from what I can see. I think that's definitely going to be something that she wants to get in there as soon as possible. Everyone's being very, very timid at the start. We've got some Harpies coming after these Outriders with grenade launchers just to try and stop them firing. But Grace is taking quite a lot of fire from those siege weapons over there. I think she probably wants to move up and get into Guy's face, who was just sitting pretty there, using his skirmishing units to just get as many kills as possible. And this is where it's going to be difficult for those Savage Orcs with no armor, no shields. They're going to take a lot of damage from those units who can fire whilst moving as well. We've already got some routing troops over here. We've got the Forest Goblin Spider Riders taking a lot of damage from these Sentinels right skirt. And it looks like they've got Hellstorm rocket batteries firing into the back of them. They're just kiting here. They're actually not a bad use. Just try and waste that ammo from that siege weapon. Guys, who do you think is going to win this battle? We're already seeing CAP right at the top with 814. It's been a very, very, very cagey battle. Now this is a bad move for Grace. She's just moved her cavalry into these halberdiers, probably trying to get past them to get at these siege weapons, but I wonder if she's just pushed her attention over to this right-hand side. We've got some Cold One Spear Riders who are going to be taking on that War Hydra as well. The Bleak Swords coming in to help out, hopefully to do a little bit more damage to them. Now this Krokgar engagement is pretty bad coming up against those Black Guard of Nagarond. They're going to be able to do quite a lot of damage to Krokgar as well as they can. And over here we see those Saurus Spears coming into terms of those Black Ark Corsairs. Now these guys are damage dealing. The Saurus Spears do have a little bit of armor, and the Black Ark Corsairs do have that tiny sliver of armor-piercing damage, so hopefully that's going to deal the best for them. But as you can see, those Kroxigals right on the side, taking on a Death Hag and soon moving in. We've got Malekith backing them up as well. This is very, very interesting engagement here. Two slightly wacky builds. I wonder where this is going to go. Let's have a look at the chat. CA army compositions. I'm liking some of these army compositions, especially this Greenskin army. They've got a nice, balanced army, lots of different facets to their play. Now these Sintner's Right Guard are just taking on the right-hand flank. They probably want to come out and start cycling now, but you can see those handgunners just firing in, trying to take out those Orc boys there. And you've got Skarsnik coming into this tasty unit of swordsmen who are going to be very easy to take out, but he does need to be careful of that Empire Captain coming right in behind him. Those Hellstorm rocket batteries now just firing into those Goblin Spider Riders still, but there is a big, nice, juicy clump over here. I reckon if that's probably a better target for them. And this is definitely a very, very engaged play. And we can see that the Lizardmen are taking Grace out over here on the right-hand side because they just got better anti-infantry on their side, I think. And Guy now moving up to 4,600 points at the top of the leaderboard. A few of these Greenskin units starting to rout now on the left-hand side. And you can see these handgunners have just gotten into combat here. They need to move out, get some of the other units to come back them up. We've got two units of Great Swords here who are now just starting to move in, probably going to try and take out those nasty Skulkers who are going to be nice and easy for you. And obviously those Halberdiers need to look out for that Ragnarok Spider because this is where the damage is going to come in. This beautiful unit is finally back in the Warhammer meta, and look at it just ramming through Balthazar Gelt. That's going to be a nice, easy target. Now those Hellstorm rocket batteries are going to start firing into the Ragnarok Spider, trying to get as much damage as possible. Now those things are not very accurate, so they're not going to get as many hits as you'd want them to, but they're still going to do a decent amount of damage. Now that's not the Regiment Renown version of the Ragnarok Spider, so they're not going to be able to spawn those hatchlings. And we've got a few units now over here who have just started to rally and can start coming after the Sintner's Right Guard in the center. CAP just sitting right in the second place there, 4,200. Plenty going on. Let's have a look at the frackers over here as well. Those beautiful purple and yellow greenskins coming up against that classic Empire color. And let's move over to the left-hand side or right-hand side. I don't even know what side I'm on, guys, anymore. Here we go. We've got Black Ark Corsairs being torn apart by these Saurus. They're getting completely outnumbered. But those Blackguard and Nagaron just doing as much damage as they can. They probably want to start targeting out those Kroxigals before they inevitably die. And you can see we've also got those Comedian Skinks just firing into the back of them as well. It looks like Grace is really struggling on this side. Probably not enough anti-large damage, probably not enough armor piercing to deal with these guys. And that Hydra now taking on those Cold One Spear Riders. Now the Hydra, obviously going up against anti-large cav is going to be difficult for them. But these Spear Riders, they're more of a cycle charge kind of unit. Hopefully that regen is going to help them out. And we can see a couple of these units now completely shattered. And Guy just raking in the points at the moment. The interesting thing is going to be when these two engagements finish off and it's time to move through the center. couple of bombardment spells now just missing. Now, this is one thing that we can actually talk about. There was a bug with previous free-for-alls where bombardment spells weren't tracking, weren't giving you points. That's actually been fixed in the patch that we're releasing with Mortal Empires. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see some of those bombardments happening, especially those Phoenix, those Flamespire Phoenixes flying over the top and just demolishing everything below them. Now we can see that these Orc boys have just come straight into the back of these Hellstorm rocket batteries. The second unit is still firing. You've got Barbstar Gelt just there, just ready to drop some more spells. But that's going to be a lot of points for Celia. That's going to be a lot. And you can see she's moving up into second place now with all of those juicy points. There's a small unit that costs a lot of money to field. That's going to be a very, very good target for it. But they're still firing over those Doom Diver catapults firing. Taking a lot of damage on those Hellstorm rocket batteries. You kind of want to be using Empire cannons for that kind of thing. Better at sniping out of the units. You can see Krokgar just chasing after these Dark Riders. One of the only units that Grace has left on the field. She's only got about 4 units now available. And see that Death Hag is just about to be taken out as well. And we've just got Malekith over there who's doing his best to hold up. But with all of these Kroxigors and Saurus and the Bastillodon coming in up against him, it's going to be a difficult battle for him. He's actually just probably just going to walk away from this one. Now, as we move back over onto the left-hand side, those Doom Divers now just focusing their fire on Pete. We can see that these Orc boys are taking on Great Swords, and these Great Swords are holding out pretty well. They are losing, but they're seeing a lot of routing coming in from those nasty Skulkers and from the Orc boys. Not a high amount of leadership that those guys have. If they manage to get a good route on them, they can turn and face against those Orc boys, and hopefully they can start bringing it in. But we have got these Crimson Killers moving in very slowly over the hill, just cresting over. We've got an Empire Captain over here just being taken out by these Orc boys as well. Didn't have much health left. He got that Ragnarok Spider still sitting on quite a lot of health, and Celia has moved up into the top spot. 9.1 thousand points now. I'm liking the build she's taken. She's definitely won this engagement over here, I think. And you can see Scarstick and Gobbler taking on these Helmstorm rocket batteries with some Orc boys just rearing them off, and you hear them screaming as they run away. And it looks like Pete is very close to being out of this competition. He has got some Halberdiers over here just taking on Nasty Skulkers. Now, the Nasty Skulkers are pretty good at taking out other infantry, so they might be okay in this engagement. But I think, once again, it's that leadership that's just not doing the business for them. A couple of those Spider Riders now have just rallied on the other side of the field. The Empire Captain is just close to being taken apart completely by this Ragnarok Spider. One last smash, and that's him, broken, completely gone. Celia sitting now right at the top, 10,000 points. Celia was the most nervous at the start, you know, and I tipped her. I think she's going to be the winner of this competition. She's got some decent builds under her pocket. But it's all going to change up, of course, when we're tasked with whatever faction you guys want to see playing on this. The big spider is eating everything, just as he should be. And we've got some Dread Spears over here running away from these Chameleon Skinks. They're just able to get some nice shots on them in the back. And Celia now, after completely routing Pete almost, it looks like Pete's not going to have a lot left on the field. Once he's completely shattered, he's going to be gone. But it's just those Halberdiers that she needs to take out now. Now, those Goblin Spider Riders, probably not a great engagement for them. There's only a few, like a handful of those Halberdiers left. Probably going to be able to just sort them out. Looking amazing with those little headdresses as well. And now Celia is starting to regroup, leaving these Great Swords over here alone, trying to get across the field, try and get as much damage over against Guy as possible. Guy is focusing here on Malekith, and while sure that's a lot of points that he might have gotten from Malekith, it's not going to be enough. He needs to move over now, start reforming, start picking his targets on Celia's army. It looks like Grace is completely out of units from what I can see. That's the last one just routing off now. Celia is starting to move herself across the chasm. Those Great Swords now just being picked off by one unit of Orc boys. They've actually managed to get into the back of them as they are walking over. But they've got another unit coming in here to help out. And it looks like Pete has pretty much secured his position in third place. But it's definitely going to be a battle of Celia and Guy for the top spot right at the end. Bear in mind, you are going to be able to get that last man standing bonus for being the last person on the field, and it's going to scale based on how much of your army is still standing. I'm not sure who this is going to go for. It looks like Guy's probably got the more well-rounded army left. He's got quite a lot of people over here that he needs to move over, though. Krokgar is a little bit isolated, only got 2 units of Saurus here that can help him out, both on half health. And we've got this Ragnarok Spider moving in. Doom Diver catapults with about 1 or 2 shots left in them. They can probably just shoot into this clump if they manage it. They've got the rest of the army coming in now. And that is Pete. It looks like Pete is completely routed off the field. He's just got those 2 great soldiers still standing. Some handgunners to rally for him as well. I don't think there's much he can do now. We can see a lot of people requesting an elf civil war with some Dowie thrown in for the mix, which could be quite interesting. High elves, dark elves, wood elves, and dwarves. That will definitely be very interesting. I know Guy's a big fan of the wood elves. Now that Ragnarok Spider has been routed. There's a lot of damage coming in. She's got some chameleon sinks over here that she needs to worry about. Very straight arcs of fire, which means that they're going to be very good at taking down these large targets. The Ragnarok Spider is a very, very big target at that. Krokgar now coming in with those Spear Riders to try and take out that Doom Dive catapult. He's also got the Crimson Killers over here to worry about as well. Now those guys are very heavily armoured, very good armor-piercing damage, and they've got pretty good morale as well. Their unit is winning decisively against the Saurus Warrior shields. These guys are not armor-piercing. They're not going to have that much to be able to deal with these guys. In come those Spears. It's going to be a similar story for those. I think the one thing they really need to worry about is Krokgar, and Krokgar needs to get involved and take out these Crimson Killers. And you can see it is completely neck and neck. Guy and Selly are both on 12,000, just jumping in and out of each other. No idea where this one's going to go. Pete just trying to get as many points as he can, chasing off these Orc boys over here. But this is the action right over here. Guy's forces now coming in to the proper manifold. They've got the crystal, giving some charges of health over here. And I wonder how many charges of that he has left. I can't see it right now on the UI. That Ragnarok Spider's just been targeted out by some Cold One Spear Riders. We've got people very, very low morale for Celia's side of the field. Guy just creeping ahead now, just about 100 points ahead. Definitely want to see some Dwarf Artillery Cariolus, if that's how you say that. I'm going to assume it is. That would be incredibly fun to watch. It's always good to see what the artillery can pull off in free-for-all. Lots of fun. Krokgar finally getting involved with those Crimson Killers. Now that's going to be something that they're really going to struggle to deal with. You can see that they're losing at the moment. We've also got those spears just there to back them up, make sure that flanking is happening. We've got some Orc boys coming in, but their morale's pretty low. Hopefully they get encouraged by those Orc boys, those Crimson Killers on the side. And you can see that some of these Goblin Spider Riders, not much ammo left. There's not much that they can do now. You can see a little bit of damage that they're taking over here, those nasty Skulkers as well. Now, those Spear Riders have just started to rout off as well. They've taken a few too many losses. We've got a Bastiladon versus Spider battle happening over here. Ramming into each other with those Croxigors there to support as well. And it looks like this one might just go in Guy's favour. It looks like he's got more of an elite army left. Celia now almost completely routing off the field. Not much that she has left to deal with. Krokgar will prevail. He is pretty powerful. Thank you for that, Commissar Craig. He is incredibly powerful. He has a lot of damage. With that cold-blooded ability as well, he can just get himself back up to health. Bear in mind, if you are healing yourself, you're potentially giving more points to the enemy team, but if you're able to just max out those points that you're getting, smashing people with a unit that you've healed up, then it's got to be worth it. There, Ragnarok has just come back in now. Definitely struggling. Those Croxigors also looking pretty deadly with those Bastiladons. With that Bastiladon, sorry, just routing off these Orc boys over here. Silver Chevron after this battle. And it looks like this one's going in the favour of Guy. Pretty much the only thing that now he has to worry about is actually Pete's greatswords right over here on the other side of the battlefield. Just sitting, just watching, having fun, just enjoying themselves. Nice relaxing, looking at this beautiful map that we've been playing off. Hope you guys have been enjoying this one. Having a good time watching them slog it out in the desert. And it looks like this one's going to go right in the favour of Guy. I don't think there's much left for Celia to bring in. She's done incredibly well, though, to get herself into second place. And we've just got Pete's units over here to pick off. And you can see the Lizardmen Scourge coming in to take down those filthy humans who have come into their, probably the Southlands, I'd say, into their Southlands territory. Looking incredible with their beautiful colours. Orc boys running for their lives with their fancy yellow trousers. And this is it. Here they come. Valiantly, the greatswords come in to try and deal with these Saurus. They'll probably do a decent amount of damage to them, to be fair. They can pierce the armor of these Croxigors. Bear in mind that with no anti-large damage, those Croxigors, who are also armor-piercing, are probably going to shred them to pieces. And you can see that they're already routing off, and that is going to be the end of that battle. Well played to Guy. I think his first victory on stream, apart from when we did the CA versus the Worlds. Oh no, he did actually tear me apart in one of our competitions. So that's unfair for me to say. Coming in right in first place with that huge last man stand.